Hello class 6. Let's continue the chapter The Mauryan Empire. Yes, administration of Mauryan Empire. The empire was divided into four provinces with the imperial capital at Patliputra. From Ashokan edicts, the names of the four provincial capitals were Tosali, Ujjain, Swarnagiri and Takshila. These were the four provincial capitals. Now, third one, the king was the most important person in the administration. Fourth, the head of the provincial administration was the Kumara, and Kumara royal prince. Kumara was royal prince who governed the provinces as king's representative. Who governed the provinces as king's representative? Royal prince, and he was called Kumara. The Kumara was assisted by Mahamatyas. Kumara was assisted by Mahamatyas and council of ministers. Means Mahamatyas used to assist Kumara. This organizational structure was reflected at the imperial level with the emperor and his Mantri Parishad, council of ministers. Now, Chandragupta Maurya's character. Chandragupta was one of the most remarkable characters in Maurya's empire. He ruled his people in a kind manner. He lived in a luxury palace or luxury life. He used to live, watched chariot races and bull races. He was the first in India to establish a mighty and a united empire. A mighty, powerful and a united. A number of kingdoms was merged in this empire. That's why he could make such a vast empire. Okay, who? Chandragupta Maurya. Society and economy. For the first time in South Asia, political unity and military security allowed a common economy system. The earlier situation, a number of kingdoms were there and small armies they had, but now they all are merged and then became a powerful kingdom, a powerful dynasty or a powerful empire. Farmers were freed of tax and crop collection burdens from regional kings, because now the kingdom is vast. Empire, it has become empire. A very vast kingdom is called empire. That's why farmers were freed of tax and crop collection burdens from the regional kings. A fair system of taxation, as advised by the principles laid down in the Arthashastra, was strictly followed. A network of regional governors and a civil service provided justice and security for merchants, traders and farmers. The Mauryan army wiped out many gangs of bandits, regional private armies and powerful chieftains who tried to impose their own supremacy in small areas. Chandragupta Maurya sponsored many public works and waterways to increase productivity, while internal trade in India expanded greatly due to the newfound political unity and internal peace. Now, see the picture. Who is he? He was the Greek ambassador sent by Seleucus, and his name was Megasthenes. He was sent to the court of Chandragupta Maurya for 5 years. On his return home, he wrote a book called Indica, in which he gave an account of the life and society at Patliputra and the Mauryan Empire. Indica and Arthashastra are two important sources of our knowledge about Chandragupta Maurya and his rule. But Arthashastra, it was written by Chanakya or Kautilya, while Indica was written by Megasthenes. Now, to understand the relation among Bindusara, Chandragupta and Ashoka, you have to understand this paragraph. Bindusara assumed the title of Amritghata or slayer of foes. Amritghata, he got the title of Amritghata or slayer of foes. Slayer of foes means a person who kills his enemy violently. Okay, that is called slayer of foes. And who was he? He was Bindusara. Chandragupta Maurya gave up his throne for his son. Chandragupta gave up his throne for his son, and he became, in his last time, he became the follower of Jain. He is said to have become a Jain ascetic. Ascetic means saint, and stabbed himself to death. Okay, and that's why he gave up his throne for his son, and he was Bindusara. It means Bindusara was the son of Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, that you understood. He extended. Who extended? Bindusara extended the Mauryan Empire as far as the confines of Mysore in the south. He also extended Mauryan Empire. He ruled for 25 years. Bindusara ruled for 25 years. He died in 273 BC. He was succeeded by his son Ashoka the Great. Now Ashoka was the son of Bindusara, and Bindusara was the son of Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya was the founder of Mauryan Empire. Now Ashoka accession. Ashoka is by far not only the most famous of the Mauryan kings, but also one of the greatest rulers of the world. Ashoka was born in 302 BC. His father Bindusara had made him the governor of Takshila and then Ujjain during his lifetime. His father Bindusara made him governor of Takshila and Ujjain. The most important event of Ashoka reign was the conquest of Kalinga and his subsequent conversion to Buddhism. Kalinga war left a great impact on Ashoka's life. But why Ashoka was keen to conquer Kalinga, or the reasons of conquering Kalinga? It was a powerful kingdom. Kalinga was a powerful kingdom. It controlled the routes to South India by land and sea. See, here is Kalinga. Here you can see Kalinga. It controlled the routes to South India by land and sea because it was located near sea, also land. Digvijay, victory in all directions, was Ashoka's policy. He could not tolerate, fourth one, he could not tolerate the idea of an independent kingdom on the borders of his empire, whole empire. On the borders of his empire, he could not tolerate. Okay, that's why these were some reasons Ashoka decided to conquer Kalinga. Thus, Ashoka invaded Kalinga in 261 BC. The Kalingans gave a tough fight, but they were ultimately defeated. From the Rock Edict 13, we get to know that in the Kalinga War, 1 lakh people were killed. 1 lakh people were killed and 1,50,000 were wounded and made prisoners of war. Effect and result of Kalinga War. Very important paragraph. Effect. As Ashoka rode in triumph to inspect his new territory, when he went to inspect his new territory, the thousands of dead and wounded soldiers lying there. The sight of bloodshed and the massacre. The meaning of massacre is brutal killing of a large number of people. That is called massacre. Of human lives stunned and horrified him. The sorrow of the wailing women and children was unbearable to him, and he rode through the streets. He brought about the Kalinga. After this, it brought about a great change in him. He vowed never to make war again. He took a pledge, never make a war again. It increased his faith in Buddhism, and he decided to devote the rest of his life to the spread of dharma. And he became the first emperor in the history of the world to give up war after victory. After winning any war, he gave up war. Thus the Kalinga War, 8 years after he was crowned king, became a major turning point in his life. He became one of the noblest of kings history has ever known. Ashoka gave up his imperial policy of conquest. Digvijay now adopted the policy of Dharma Vijay. Digvijay converted in Dharma Vijay now. He began to devote his attention to the spread of protection of Dharma, Buddhism. He gave special attention to the welfare of his people. However, having given up his policy of conquest, it weakened the martial spirit of his people, and they became prey to foreign attack. Means he left doing war, fighting against with another country. That's why the kingdom became weakened, and the people of his country became victim to foreign attacks. 2.5 years after the Kalinga War, Ashoka became a faithful and devoted Buddhist. To him, Buddhism was a religion of love and ahimsa, non-violence. He studied the Buddhist scriptures and made Upagupta his guru. Who was Upagupta? Ashoka's guru. Ashoka's dharma or dhamma. Dharma. Ashoka laid stress on high ideals of conduct in practical life to make men peaceful and virtuous. This was called his dhamma, the Pali word for dharma. He did not care so much for the finer points of the Buddha's philosophy. His dhamma was a practical code of morals. People should follow ahimsa, that is non-injury to all living creatures. People should live in peace and should not fight over land and religion. Basically, people fight for these two reasons: for land and for religion. They should show respect and tolerance to all religions. Children must obey their parents and show them respect. In the same way, students should obey and respect their gurus. These were some principles of Ashoka's Dhamma. That's all for the day. We will continue this chapter in next video. Keep sending your assignments. Send them on time and write your assignment number over there, please. Okay? Thank you.